Right guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel, the Regal Gentleman Studio. Today we've got Dylan in the chair. How are you doing, Dylan?
Good, mate.
Good?
Thank you very much.
Good, man. Good. So, what can I do for you today?
Well, I mean, I think it's just a bit of a mess at the moment. To
Okay.
be completely fair. I'd like it tidied up, but I wouldn't be against something a bit new. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Is this what you normally have done, is it, yeah?
I've had the middle parting for years.
Okay.
For years, and I just feel like it's only because I really don't know what else would suit me, but maybe, yeah, I'm easy, but
okay.
I feel like this is what suits me.
It's what suits you, okay. What other styles have you had in the past?
I mean, I've had this since I must have been first year college, so
First year college.
16, 17. Before I just had, normal like quiff, just kind of like
Yeah.
most school kids do.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not really sure. I mean, my last haircut I got done at a Turkish barber's, and they shaved the sides a bit, but they left the back quite long.
Okay.
It was quite nice, but it didn't feel very tidy. It was a bit of an odd haircut.
Oh, right, okay, no worries. It does look quite short at the crown. Like, that is like really short for this haircut. If I just take it to camera. If you think about all the length everywhere else for the style we're going for, that bit, as you can see, it's very short, and the bit next to it's actually shorter. Because it looks to me maybe as though, yeah, it does look a bit longer down here than it is up here. Again, I can't really, because it is overgrown, I can't really tell too much. I can tell what's sort of how it's been cut, but I can't tell you why it's been cut like that. Okay, that could be a little bit of a stickler. I don't know. It could be a bit of a problem. I don't know yet. We'll come to that. But I mean, I'll be honest. When you came through the door, I thought you really suited your haircut. Maybe it's because you're pulling it off at your confidence. I don't know. But if I had a complete sort of blank canvas for you, what would you tell me not to do?
Not too short, not slip back, because I think my hairline's a bit of a mess.
Okay, so not too short, not slip back, yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know, because when I was lifting your hairline up then, I was wondering, because it does look deceivingly low until you lift your hairline up. Do you see what I mean? It's not, is it? So it is a bit deceiving, but do you know, if we just have a little play around, the best way to find out what will suit you is just by having a little play around with your hair as it is now. Let's have a little look at that. I think you've got the face shape for a fringe, and I know you've got one now. Yeah. But it's obviously split in the middle, isn't it? But it still does fall down as you see when you see the before shot. Maybe fast forward to the before shot, you'll see what I mean. But it does suit you because of your face shape as well. Yeah. You've got a very angular foot. You're very lean, very angular face. You can get away with that kind of triangle or round shape as well because of how sharp your jawline is. So that helps straight away. So you have got, I mean, if the hairline isn't too much of an issue for you, then you have got options, It just depends on whether you'd be comfortable wearing a fringe or not.
What do you mean by fringe?
Well, I don't know yet, and that's something I'm trying to work out that one at the minute. I'm just having a little play around with it, but I'm just thinking, do you see the way your hair falls, like very natural? I don't want to do something that's going to be too hard for you to do. Yeah. Because obviously, this haircut is so easy to do to start with anyway. I was just thinking of having something a bit textured and a little bit, maybe just letting your fringe fall on your face a little bit like that. Obviously it won't be that long or anything like that, you know what I mean? But it'll just be a fringe. It'll be a very loose fringe. It won't be split, and it'll just fall on the face. Now, you tell me if that is not correct, if you don't want that.
I like what you're saying, to be fair. And I do agree, sorry. But it's hard. Honestly, you're the barber. You know your stuff. For me, I can't picture it until I see it. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. So I can picture it. Obviously, it won't be like at the minute. It's just your old haircut that we're trying to balance away. We're trying to make it work. But I don't want to kind of raise it up too much. Obviously, I don't want to give you like a quiff. I just want to give you something where the fringe just sits quite sort of naturally scrunched a little bit. So not flat on the face. Okay. Just kind of, because if you look at that, if you bring it across through there, it still works with the hairline. You can't, it's not exposing it at all. But obviously it'll sit really heavy now because of all this behind it. So if we were to do something where the fringe is maybe just brushed up and kind of over a little bit, so it's a very relaxed look compared to kind of what you got going on now. Like, even just what you're wearing, it's very relaxed. I want the haircut to reflect that as well, because you do seem like, I mean, I've only known you for about 3 minutes, but you don't seem, like you said, even just how, you seem quite relaxed with how your hair is. You've had other haircuts in the past. You didn't seem overly angry about the last haircut, which kind of shows your personality. You're just like, yeah, it wasn't cut right, where some people can get quite emotional about it, You were upset. Okay. Maybe you just hide it. Maybe you just don't show it the way I would anyway. No, but I'm open to it. If you think that would work, then I trust you.
The reasons behind the thinking is that because of your hairline, we are kind of limited a little bit, and also because you don't want it to be brushed back. They're you know, they're kind of two problems in a way, because obviously we can't put the fringe up. We could do, but again, it's then having to leave this bit a bit longer. That kind of looks like you kind of cover something, which I don't want you to do. I don't think it's that bad for that. It might look worse if we try and do that, you know, more than whatever else. But I just want to do something that was still quite relaxed. A kind of another version of the centre part is in the way the centre part is styled. It's super easy. It's super relaxed. It's just a little bit of a change if you're up for a change, you know. If we talk about the back and sides though for a second, like you said, not too short. What about if we did maybe just something like what was like maybe I'd say finger length on the back and side? So it's not, there's no sort of guards or clippers that we're going to kind of go up and off with. We can just do it through our fingers and create the shape first, or scissor over comb, whichever one we decide. But just something that is still scissor cut on the back and side. So it's not like an aggressive kind of short length. But that obviously balances in with everywhere else as well. Because just looking at this crown, like the way it looks as though it's been cut. I don't know why this bit here is cut shorter than here. I can't really work that out, but I just want to keep that in play, because that's the kind of length that I'd probably end up maybe going a tiny bit shorter, but maybe that's the length I'd probably want to work to at the top anyway, to be able to leave a bit more length for you. And look, as it grows out, you can always put it back in the centre part as well. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If there's something that you, maybe a few weeks in, you're thinking, oh, I don't know, maybe the change wasn't worth it, or maybe I didn't do a haircut that you liked, then at least you can wear it back in the centre part.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to give that a go? Yeah? All right, cool, man. Back around the neck as well, just taper that in a bit tighter. Nothing too aggressive, nothing like a fade, nothing on the neck. Just so that tapers in a bit. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. All right, well, let's get you gowned up then. All right, guys. So I'm going to start off just by combing out Dylan's hair from the crown into the growth pattern. I just need to see what that crown's like. Now, because the hair is wet, if it sticks up when it's wet, it'll stick up when it's dry. So that's one of the things I'm looking at now. Dylan's crown is smack bang in the centre as well. Quite rare you see that, actually, to be honest. Look at that. Look how pretty. I mean, look, that is pretty much central, right? You know, it couldn't be. You know what I mean? Pretty much central. Slightly off to the right, but that actually can sometimes make haircuts quite difficult because partings. You know, if Dylan wants to go for a parting today, probably go for a parting coming from the left, but then as you're combing it over, it would stick up, you know, as you're coming over the crown. So if you're going for a parting, for example, like if that's the haircut you're looking for, make sure your parting, your crown is either far over to the right or far over to the left. It just makes a parting a bit easier. But we're not doing that today, so it's not going to be an issue. But I'm combing it out just to see from the previous cut what we're dealing with, basically, like how short the actual haircuts are towards the back, just these little bits here. But it's not looking too bad, to be honest. I think you've grown it out long enough. I think we'll be all right. So in that case, I'm going to start off with a horseshoe section. Now, that crown there, I would class as a mistake because it's too short at a point where it needs to be longer. So in my opinion, that's a mistake. By creating a horseshoe section, I wouldn't have cut that section short because that would have been over in the correct position where it needs to be. So even if I'd have cut the section underneath a bit too short, I could have disguised it with the crown and still created head shape. Because again, it's great for what Dylan sees in the mirror. You know, the main focus we're looking at for Dylan today is how the top looks for him straight on. Because obviously a centre part is very straight on visually. But it's what I can see and you can see and everyone else around us can see. I know I get mocked for it. But even by you, Liam, you mock me as well for this bloody horseshoe section. But it does work. It really does. And again, this is an educational channel, so I'm trying to educate on why I do a lot of horseshoe sections. But for most of the haircuts that I do, this works an absolute treat on. I know there's times when you go from the top and work down. Again, I'm sure we can probably point out other videos where we've done that. But for this particular cut, I'm going to work from the recession point and I'm going to drop it down to the crown. And that's where we'll see where that length has gone too short. So if you have a little look here, I'll spin you around to the back. So that's where it's too short here compared to all that length underneath. So if you watch this, I'm coming from the recession point. You can stay there, Liam. Coming from the recession point, I'm dropping it down, okay, like so. So what that's doing is that's taking away the risk of cutting that area too short. As I comb that around, that little bit has been cut too short, gets scooped up into the top, as you can see. That's being scooped up. So that isn't going to be in the way if I was to make a mistake. At least I know the back of the head is going to look all right from the crown. Because all that length underneath there is quite short, see? But that's the bit that I feel is the mistake, because that's the bit that's too short here. That kind of when we're looking at that angle there, it's too short from this point, so either here is going to be disconnected or underneath is going to be disconnected. Whereas if we do that and create that 90 degree sort of box finish at the back, that's when it sits rounded. So over. So short enough on the back and sides that it looks nice and tidy. Again, probably around to maybe finger length or maybe just above. It's not the fringe. I'm not cutting the fringe too short. I'm pulling it away from the hairline and bringing it down. And just following the guide from the top now. I'm scooping it in from the right hand side because I'm bringing it in, the guide in to the section. If you watch here again, finger width. So as I separate that section down there, let's see, there's my previous section. So it's exactly a finger width, okay? Now before anyone points out that I've got small hands, I already know it. So whatever your finger width is, you use that, all right? And I'm scooping in from not from the original first section, just from just before the second section that we took. I'm bringing that out, and there's the guide. Fingers nice and straight up. So what I'll do, we'll create a natural graduation to the ear, because obviously the head curves off, and where we do it at the round of the head, where that natural curve is, it creates it shorter here and longer here. So it's a really nice graduation. Bring that in again following the guide from the right hand side. This is primary shape, remember. So we're not point cutting into this bit. We don't need to point cut into this bit at the minute. We're just creating our primary shape, okay? So this is the shape that Dylan's gonna see and we're gonna see when it's finished. Can you see? That's the shape we're cutting it into. So that is longer at the top, as you can see, more length here, getting short to the bottom. Then we can then dictate how short we go around the very edges. Again, just a nice taper. I'm not looking to make this an aggressively short haircut. I know one thing Dylan said, don't forget the two things mentioned. Doesn't want to go back and doesn't want too short. So bearing in mind, that doesn't look too short, there's no scalp exposure whatsoever. And then we can manipulate how much comes off over the very bottom. Pull that out, there's my guide. What I mean by clean is that there's no rogue hairs from another section coming into that section. Okay, there we go. Nice straight section. We're going to pull it in from the previous section for our guide. There we go. Over, pull it in like so. Even if there is only a tiny little bit, it's worth cutting. Just to make sure it's even and level. There we go. Yeah, so just tilting this head down slightly, because again, I want to preserve as much length around the crown as I can. Pull out, there's my guide. Just work right down to the nape as well. Head still in the same position, just leaning down very, very slightly. Pull it up, there's my guide. We're getting around to the centre back now. There's the centre back of my next section. There'll be a line straight down the middle of his head at the back. That's where I'll be finishing off before I start my cross-checking. So it's very important with palm to palm that you cross-check. Now I know I'm probably just reiterating here, but I have said this in the majority of videos that I've done, especially on our education platform, this is one of the techniques that we teach. But very in-depth as well, should I say, a lot more in-depth than we're doing now. Always cross-check, because when you get to this last section here, if you're right-handed like me, when you get here, you can sometimes just over-direct by accident. I think it's just because the position of the head and the motion that you're in and the sort of movement that you're creating just tends to over-direct it here. And I noticed, especially when I was starting off at first, I'd always get to the end here and I'd be a lot longer than this side, or shorter, because then I'd be overcompensating, thinking, oh, I've gone too long here, so my next section's going to be shorter. And you end up being here and being a bit lost. I know, look, that was me. I can't speak for everyone, but that was me. So always make sure that you cross-check. There we go. How we cross-check. So we pull out and see if our fingers finish at the same point. We just work around, as you can see, I'm missing a section, then picking it up with my left hand. So my right hand starting on the first section, I'm skipping a section, then picking up the section behind it. and so on. And I'm working around, all the way around, just to make sure that that is the same when I get to the back. And it's exactly the same. So I know if I just follow the guide that I'm on, it'll be symmetrical the other side. And you pull it out and there's your guide. Do not worry, you're sticking to the same guide. Don't worry how much comes off. It's always going to be the same when you finish. My guide, cut. Again, finger width. Continue what you're doing. Finishing off the back and sides, I'm going to switch onto a larger scissor. So I used a slightly smaller scissor. That's a 6.5. Okay, it's a Kobe 6.5 scissor. It's offset as well, so it's still a bit easy to work through your palm to palm, because it's already got a slight angle on it already. I'm going to switch up to a larger scissor now to do the scissor over comb. So we're going to work from this point here now. I'm going to get shorter to the bottom. Pick it up. I'm going to cut the length ourselves, so I'm going to take a little bit off. Now I'm looking to taper this in a bit. So do I just, by taking a little bit off at that point there, with that ridge, it just dips in underneath the occipital bone. What that helps do is allow me to get to taper it a bit shorter. So we'll still have the palm to palm, we'll still have all this length, but we'll have a very nice gradual taper with the scissors as well. Am I doing it like this as well? I'm just getting a feel for how it's going to fall. It's starting to dry off a little bit now as well down the bottom. And I'm working with this natural hairline. So the occipital bone, and there's my guide. And we just get closer with the spine of the comb as we get lower down. There we go. Same again. We'll work just on this angle now, just to work it around. Imagine your zero line. This is the sort of same point where you have your zero line. If you're doing anything like a mid to low fade. The ear out of the way. There we go, pick it up. Keep your blade nice and still down the bottom of the comb, and that way you can't cut the ear. On the side bend, just a little bit. We'll do that with the trimmer in a minute, okay? There we go. So what you're seeing from the side is you get that nice shape at the back, went out, and then just cutting right into the neckline, but nothing aggressive looking. Doesn't look like we've just gone in there straight away with the clipper. Which I think again is the kind of look that I got the feeling we were going for. Same again now. Got the guide from the left hand side. And just work up. As you get T-sections, just work up just to blend that in nicely. A nice graduation that way. Because we're using this angle and coming up and off, there's going to be a blend into the hair we've worked palm to palm as well. See? When we talk about cross-checking as well, what we need to do, when we're working cross-checking with the scissor, as we do scissor over comb, we come in like so. Our cross-check is when we work with the comb up and off. That's our cross-check, okay? So similar to when we're doing our cross-check with our palm to palm, the same thing comes when you're doing it with scissor over comb. Just go up and off to where you started from. Got our guide from the left-hand side, working down. Work it over the ear like so. Like that, there we go. Pull the ear this way, and then cut on this angle around the ear. You can see we've left the length on the temple here. See, that's a little bit longer there, but that allows me to then shape it how I want. Allows to keep the thickness in there. Again, I'm not looking to detail anything too sharp, cut into the hairline or anything like that, just a little bit of a lighter finish and just strengthen it up through the sideburn like so. It's working nicely around the ear. There we go. Pull it down. Make sure we're trimming the hair that goes in a different direction. Slide it up and under like so. And that will expose the hairline for us. Taper it a little bit more towards the bottom like so. And then we can see where we need to do our nice sharp line just to strengthen it up a little bit. And come straight down. Like so. There we go. Like that. Use our trimmer and our cutting comb, our size 5 cutting comb, just to create a bit more of a sharper taper. And again, that's all we're looking for, just a nice, natural looking taper. Just using the corner of our trimmer just to sharpen it off a little bit. Again, we're not looking to cut into it too much. The smaller teeth now, start on the very bottom. There we go. Now, I'm going to move on to the top now. So, I'm going to pick a length, and we can work through this together if you like as well, Dylan. Or you can leave it to me, whatever you prefer. But I just want to pick a length that's going to be still low maintenance for you, that's going to be easy for you. I can show you a length if you're happy with, and we can take it as the majority length. And then we can go on from there, yeah, sure thing. Well, I'm gonna start at the front because that's the thing you're gonna see the most, is the fringe. So, lower you down. I was thinking about taking that much off.
See, I find it quite difficult to imagine what that would look like.
So if I pull that down with the comb, it'll sit roughly, as it falls down, it would sit roughly about there in length of the fringe.
Okay.
About that.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll pull a little bit more off, pull that down, that sits, it's going to come through my fingers there.
It's just above the eyebrows.
Just above the eyebrows, yeah. Happy with that, yeah?
I think that's perfect.
Cool. Like that. I'm going to point cut into this because I want that nice jagged finish, okay? Because you can still create primary shape through the top by point cutting into it as well. Here we go, there's the guide and following from the front. Like so. Taking sections back again, the section width is the same as the sides and the palm to palm. It's a finger width, okay? Pulling it straight up, cutting through. Nice and clean, and then cut. Pick the section up now, coming through the crown, I lift it up, and it's actually a tiny bit shorter. What we've done, by picking that length, just seemed to happen, it's the length that I thought would work, and Dylan agreed that there was a length that worked for him too. We've actually now connected in the crown because that was the length that he came in with. But by sectioning that off in a horseshoe, that's where that wants to naturally sit. So now we've balanced it. So I know the haircut will look okay because we know that crown's going to be completely balanced in now. Pull it straight up like that, away from the hairline. I'm going to use that as my guide there. See, that's pretty much the same length. Right, so taking a section from just off centre, like so, just to get away from this section. We don't need this section, it's just going to clump up in my fingers. Pull out of the way, like so. This doesn't need to be perfect, it's just getting that section out of the way. I'm going to connect in the sides now. I'll pull this up, I'm going to pull this hairline as well right here, right back. So the fringe comes back to find the hairline. And we do the same things we did with our first section. We pull it back to the hairline. And there's our guide. Got a guide from the top and a guide from the bottom. And we just remove the point. Again, same size sections. It's key to this. Nice small sections when you're connecting a short length to the top. See, my guide is thoroughly coming through all over from the top to the bottom and through the section as well. Straight out, my fingers are pointing straight up, like so, coming right up like that. And just working around from the crown. I'm just going to drop that down a little bit when we get to the back. Straight to the centre. You see now, my fingers are coming a bit lower down, so I'm working with the shape. Like that, as you can see, because the crown was cut a bit short on the last haircut, there shouldn't be an awful lot to come through. See, not much. So we've got a nice connection through the sides. We've got length in the front because we haven't cut that just yet, but we've got a connection, and that's the key thing. So we pick it up again, just off the centre this time. Pull it over, straight up. There's my guide. Right on the crown now. There we go. If it doesn't need cutting, don't cut it. Because sometimes you can go a bit too short, then if you need to, just pick it up the same way you would. If nothing needs to come off, just leave it. I'm going to work into this side now, so same thing again, just off centre. Push all of the hair over to one side because we don't need it. We pull this back to the hairline. There we go. Guide, guide. We connect. Nice small sections. Keeping the sections really nice and tight. Again, finger width. I'm not even waiting to see how much length comes through. I'm just finding the guide then cutting it. Because I know I'm following my guide, so I'm staying true to that. I know it'll all connect and it'll be fine. Dropping it down now as we get towards the back. Not much should come through now because it's quite short before, remember? Just a few little sporadic ones. So look where my guide comes from. Guide comes from there and there. We go straight around. See that? Guide. Now what we do is point cut into the fringe now to break it up. What we do now, separate it from the back, pull it forwards, rest your fingers, so there's probably maybe about an inch, half an inch, something coming through, straight in with your scissor. And what we'll do is as it falls, it won't fall as blunt, it'll fall a bit more broken up. Okay? Take a bigger section now just because that's where the recession point is. pick it up, pull it out, straight in. Just go one pass on this bit here, okay? Same just off center here, pull it out, and just across here, just one pass. What I'll do is break the fringe up and soften it for him, okay? So that is a nice finished fringe before we do anything else to it. So this haircut I know is balanced, it's gonna sit nice. Now that's the primary shape cut in. What we do now is our secondary shape. So I'm gonna move on to the razor while the hair's nice and wet. And what I'm gonna start straight down the middle. Nice wide section. Pick that up, we'll start and give them a little bit of root lift. Like that. So can you see, stand it up nicely. There we go, bit of root lift. So that short hair is keeping that longer hair up. There we go. Another section down. As we get to the fringe, I'm going to pull it outwards. I'm just going to slide it in a little bit just from the root. Like that, just to create a bit of collapse because I want the fringe to fall a bit flatter. Now, take another section, across now, I'm going to go diagonally. I'm going to break it up now, so I'm working diagonally across now. Same thing again. That root lift, you see it standing up. Another section across. Another section down here. So by cutting this hair on a different angle, it's going to help it to fall slightly differently as well. But again, this is like hidden texture. You don't see this when the hair's lying flat. You only see this when you put product in, when you bring it to life a little bit. And the good thing is about working diagonally as well, we're not going into the crown because this crown's smack bang in the center. Put a freehand now. And what we'll do, we'll just slide down through the hair as it's fallen. Okay, I'm not going to comb it through, I'm just going to let it fall with your fingers, like that. And I'm going to slide that through it as well, like that. Now, just before we check it and we make sure everything's sitting okay, I'm just going to dry it through, and then I'm going to point cut into the part of the blend as well, because where we work quite blunt, I want to break and soften up the blend and point as well, okay, the transition from the top into the sides. So a little bit of salt spray, just as the base. This is just a nice way to finish off, start to kind of dry that texture in and bring it out as well. Just going to finger dry it as well. You see that root lift? Helping the hair stand up if it wants to. But also it's hidden away as well. It doesn't look like we've done that. There's no like gaps or lines in the hair whatsoever. I'm just scrunching into the fringe so that I fall a bit more naturally. I'm just twisting and pinching the top to bring out the texture we've done in there. So the final thing, using a larger scissor, it's got more of a pointed end to it. I'm just gonna comb this forwards and pull out just above the round of the head, like so, and just cut into that straight line. Same at the crown. Already connected the crown in, so we're just breaking that up now. So it's amazing how that is the same length as when he came in. Yeah, it's exactly the same length as when Dylan came in. You wouldn't know, would you? It's incredible how it works. It's the same technique he did at the front. On the fringe, we do just around the transition area. Just to help soften the transition from the top into the sides. It's as simple as that. Nothing major. I'm going to blast that out for you now. It's cold air. There we go. So, how is the length looking for you, mate?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it really does.
Nice length. Suits you done it as well?
Yeah, it does. It's been a while since I've had my hair this short, and it's not even really short.
No.
It's been a while since I've had my hair this short.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. As you can see, it sits down. The lowest point is that point there, just above the eyebrows, kind of central. And the rest of it you can just play around with. So we're not looking like we're trying to hide or anything, even expose anything. We're just working with the kind of the natural way it wants to fall and just kind of bringing out that good texture we can get in your hair as well. I'm going to finish this look off with a little bit of clay, all right? Something that's very kind of matte. Again, it's about that low maintenance look and low maintenance styling for you as well. So as you can see, I've cut this in, even if it was to lie flat with nothing in it, it still looks really nice. You can just emphasize it with a bit of product as well, all right? So a little bit of Hands de Foucault claymation. Again, I'm not using a lot. I'm only using that much. Okay, it's just the tip of my finger is all I'm going to use, okay? Palm my hand, work it through first, because it is quite a tough product. Work it through and then through my hands and through my fingers. And now I'm going to start your crown, just like that, just to get the product on the crown, okay? Because everyone just tends to go from the front to the back. And then I'm going to work through, rub it in like a shampoo. Now again, the best way to apply this product is from the bathroom to the bedroom, whatever. Basically what I mean by that is just walking from one room to another, run your hands through your hair. That's all you need to do. And then just rub it in and then just style. I mean, it depends how you want it to wear, but I was just going to see for you, I think it looks nice just because of your look and everything like that. Something that's just a little bit low maintenance looking, letting that fringe fall a bit and then just bringing out that texture through the top. So not as smooth as the centre parting, but just a little bit of something different. And again, it's just so easy. You can spend as little or as long as you really want to on the styling. It's up to you how much you want to bring out the texture, but I just want to give you something that was a little bit easier to do. Like that, so it falls quite natural. And then just run through your fingers like that, through your hair. That's basically it really, mate.
Looks good.
Just faffing around now.
What product was that, did you say?
That Hands de Foucault claymation, it's called. So it's just a clay. Any clay will be fine. If you're not someone who uses a lot of product, any clay will be fine for this hairstyle. All right?
Yeah, I'm not giving my products.
That's all right, man. It's fine. You don't need to be. I mean, at the end of the day, if you just want to just have something, if you've got a little bit of styling powder or something like that, you could, you don't have to use anything, really. Yeah. I put a bit of salt spray on, you could have got away with that, really, I just wanted to bring it out a bit more. So again, it's about the cut. The cut should kind of then allow you to accentuate what you've done, not necessarily create what you've done, unless you're doing certain hairstyles. But for something like yours, it should just be as simple as getting up, bit of product in your hair and you're gone, Sure. There we go, man. Right, let me show you the back and sides. So that is the finished look. Happy with that?
Yeah, I like the back a lot. Yeah, it's good.
Looks nice, doesn't it? So you can see from the side there, you've got the head shape in. So that's the back, right? As you can see, you've got the nice natural line in the neckline there just to make it look tidy. Natural taper, just exposing your natural hairline and then keeping that shape in. So as you can see, it sits around with the crown and then tapers in. So that to me, that's like a natural taper where you just get rid of any excess hair length down the bottom and maintain a head shape in there as well. All right, same that side.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and the crown.
It does look natural, and I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it doesn't make it look aggressive or too short, does it? It doesn't scream out, I've got a short haircut. Like you said, it's not even that short, but to you it is, especially the top. Where the back and sides, I didn't take that much off. I've just created a shape in it for you. Realistically, I only took probably about an inch off or something, or maybe half an inch on the back and sides. It's more the top that we connected in. All right, man. Thank you, Dylan. That's great, man. Thank you very much.